Juliet Blake brought the book to me. I heard about the book. We thought it would be a fantastic thing to partner with DreamWorks. The idea of being able to work with Steven again, I'd always carried that inside myself, just to do anything. You know, when I was auditioning for The Color Purple, I never expected to be in it, but I would have been happy just to carry his script, to carry water, to do anything to work with him. So I felt that it was something that the two of us would be interested in, that story of the family moving itself and being able to speak to not just what it means to be a family, but what it means to be a family of the world.
Anybody who gets out of a chair and makes some kind of an effort to walk across the street to meet someone that they've always wanted to meet or to say hello to someone they're afraid of, it takes effort to get out of your chair. And that 100-foot journey represents everything that we go through, whether it has to do with food
Yeah,
or love or children or friendship. You have to make an effort.
yeah.
You have to walk a distance in order to achieve something of value for yourself. I thought that Stephen Knight, who wrote the screenplay, who adapted the book, uh, on paper it was a cinematic journey. I mean, the way he described the food
Yeah,
and
it
the
felt
way he
lush.
described
Didn't
it
it
felt
feel
lush,
lush? It
and the
felt lush.
ambience of that countryside, that amazing French countryside.
Oh my God,
It
when I
was
was
it
there,
was
when I was there, it's like it's like something you dreamed. I
right,
can't. I thought how fantastic. You know, you're talking about creating a family, but how fantastic that the film family gets to actually work in that atmosphere,
right,
and
right,
it wasn't, you know, just like a Hollywood backlot or something.
right,
That it
right.
was the real deal.
It was they shot it where it happened, where it happened in Stephen Wright's imagination. Then when Lasse Hallström came on board to direct the picture, and with his incredible, sort of knowledge and grasp of
Why did
cinema.
you want it to be him?
Well, for one thing, I still love one of my favorite movies of all time is My Life as a Dog, and
Oh
I have
yes,
been a fan of
yeah.
Lasse's from the beginning of his life
Mm-hmm.
as a filmmaker, and of course so many other movies that he's made like Chocolat.
Chocolat.
Lasse has is a stickler for the details. And what really turns him on as an artist, as a filmmaker, is finding those little asides that aren't central to the screenplay, that isn't the theme of the scene he's shooting, but it's something that a child does in the background. It's a little smile that the younger brother gives to Hassan, his older brother.
Yes.
It's those little details that I knew that Lasse, from his other work, was going to pepper, if I can use a
Yeah.
although pepper is you don't put pepper on everything just
Yes. No.
but he was going to season the movie
Yes.
with
That's a good
all
word.
these little sort of nuances and details, and was going to make the movie even more special than it was on the
That's
page.
a perfect analogy, I think, because that's exactly what you feel when you finish the film. It meant exactly what he said, that it brings back a fondness and memories and a feeling of being, you know, nurtured and supported and loved. So when he says that, it means every bite makes me think of being loved.
Whenever whenever I eat mashed potatoes, not exactly what you would call the haute couture of cuisine,
No.
but whenever I eat mashed potatoes and I can indulge myself and drench it in melted butter, it takes me back to being 7 and 8 years old, which is exactly how my mom made the mashed potatoes, right next to her pot roast. That the mashed potatoes was like a volcano. She would actually take the mashed potatoes, stick them in the plate, smash down the top,
And then put in the
ladle
butter.
in the butter in the top,
Oh,
and not even not and no, we're not even talking about the gravy now. We're
oh
just
my
talking about the butter.
goodness. Yeah.
And so that is for me that mouthful, that memory that just brings me
That
right
takes you
back home
home.
again.
That takes you
Yeah,
home.
at a time when I could eat anything I wanted to eat back in those old days.
Yeah.
A serious movie with a tremendous sense of humor, which is something that Stephen Knight brought to it, It's something that the casting and the cast brought to it,
Absolutely.
and it's certainly something that Lassa continued
Yeah.
to.
But he's
Um,
seasoned throughout.
yes, yes, he seasoned it throughout. It's not a comedy. We're not selling it as a comedy, but there's some lovely lightness
What are
to
we
so
calling
much of
it?
the movie.
What are we calling
I
it?
don't think it fits into a genre.
That's
I
what's so
don't.
wonderful
That's
about
what's
it.
good about it. Yeah.
This is what's so great about it. It's a first date movie. It's
Uh-huh.
safe to go as a first date. You're
Hmm.
not going to be embarrassed, but yet it's stimulating and entertaining and fun. And you can also take your family.
Yeah.
I mean, when does that happen
Yeah. It's
anymore?
no. It's a lovely family story. It really is, and it's something that I'm very proud, and I can't wait to show my family. Well, Charlotte Le Bon was someone who I had seen. A French casting director had just mentioned her name to us, but I went on YouTube and I saw a French daytime variety show where a couple days a week she would come out and do the weather in
Wow.
outlandish costumes, sometimes painting her face gold or silver and coming
Wow.
out with red fright wigs and coming out with a clown's nose. And she came
I
out
didn't
and
know
did
that.
a comedy weather riff on this daytime French show, a variety show. And I realized anybody that beautiful that can be that funny, that is a souffle.
Yes.
And we had to get that souffle in the
That's nice.
souffle. And I also think the great aspect of the story is the
Wow.
chemistry
They
that
look like a family,
they look
don't
like a
they?
complete real
They really
family.
do.
And Manish looks doesn't look, but Manish very much is Om's son.
Yes.
There is something on camera and off camera that really bonded those two actors.
I think it's him going to Om's house and cooking and
Hmm.
well, not Om's house, but cooking every weekend
Hmm.
and them sitting around the table and creating,
Hmm.
traditional Indian food
Sure.
and being together as a family and as a, father figure
Right.
that really helped mesh that.
It did, and I think he learned a lot from him how to prepare some
Yes.
of the meals.
I will say this, the movie's so personal that I think everybody experiences something different depending on
Hmm.
where you are with your own personal emotions, but also,
Hmm.
foodies are going to love it and people who are just looking for a love story are going to love it and people who are interested in a really wonderful story about what that means to take that journey are going to love it. I could not believe that when I saw it for the first, I've only seen it once so far. I could not believe all the way through because I was looking at dailies, but I could not believe how emotional it was
Yeah.
for me. For me,
Yeah.
I couldn't. I was thinking, okay, now you've seen every daily, and now you're sitting here crying. Come on, Oprah. But I did.
No, oh, it got to me emotionally big time when I first saw it. I was very, very moved. I was immediately looking for a phone to call Lhasa because I
Yes.
wanted to reach out to Lhasa and to Stephen Knight, the author and also the author of the book, because I think it was just a beautiful handoff from book to script to director.
Yeah.
And so I was choked up when I would talk to Lawson. When he heard my voice, I was a little bit undone by the end of the movie. But it's
Because lots of movies you go to and you think, oh well, the book was better. Da, da, da.
yeah,
You don't feel that at all. You're right. It's a perfect handoff.
it's a
The
really
book
yeah.
was, the script was, and the movie is.
And then it's kind of old fashioned in a good way. It's a real story.
Yeah.
It's not just a series of vignettes or trying to exploit cooking to make it look sexy or erotic or actiony. It really is a narrative, a very clear chapter one. Then chapter two happens.
Yeah.
Then here comes chapter three. We
The
can't
beautiful
wait for
arc.
chapter four.
Yeah.
And it peaks exactly where you hope it will,
Yeah.
and it falls off exactly when you want it to. And that's the thing I loved about the way the script and the
I think
directing
that's a great
orchestrated it.
description. Stephen, that's perfect. It's old fashioned in a really good
In a
way.
good way, it's
It's
old
like a
fashioned.
real
Yeah.
movie
Hmm.
that, we used to get up and go to the movies and go see that fills you up and you come out with a really great feeling and you want to
Yeah.
tell your friends about it
Yeah.
in a good way. Well, I think that's called good directing.
I think it's called good cooking. This experience of Oprah and I co-producing the 100-Foot Journey is for me a dream come true because it's the first time Oprah and I have worked together since 1985. Because
Okay.
all the times that I've done your show,
Yes.
that's not working together.
No.
That's like being in your living room.
Yes.
That's like being a guest in your home.
Yes. You're
But
absolutely
but
right.
we had a chance to put our creative energies together in a very compatible way to find a way to tell this story about compatibility amongst people that you would never imagine could even be compatible, whether it's love or food. Well, I had the idea very early on that I just imagined Helen Mirren playing Madame Mallory. I couldn't get that image out of my mind.
And he's Steven Spielberg, so he
And
can get that to happen.
but I can, well, you can if the actor's available and if they like
Yes.
the script,
Yes.
you know.
But when I even heard that we're reaching out to Helen Mirren, I was like, okay, well, if you get Helen Mirren, you're on the way to getting a
Yeah,
movie.
we
Yes.
get a serious movie now.
Yeah.
I wasn't there on location. Oprah was on location, and I was here. I was watching dailies every day, as
Yeah.
Oprah was, and I was always terrified of the phone ringing to say that somebody lost the tip of a finger.
Yeah.
I had this horrible vision
Really?
that during some of the cooking
Yes.
scenes,
That somebody's gonna.
okay, the expert turns the knife over
Yeah.
to the actor,
And there it
and
is.
the actor lops off a part of their finger. I mean, I lived in fear of this moment happening. On the last day of shooting, I was so relieved that never happened.